Okay, George. Well, it seems very strange talking to you in this position, but I just, it's lovely talking to you. It'd be nicer still if I was there with you talking to you, but that's not possible. But I must say, what wonderful times we had with you, with lovely Aggie, the loveliest lady. Honest. I remember, but anyway, I must not get sad like that because I've got to talk to you, George. Mark's showing you with my drums. My drums are my salvation, George. I can play these and forget all things of the past, just what I'm playing, because I love music. Well, I love music, George. But we had wonderful times with you, and I can remember some of the stories that you told us about your uncle when you were young and you shouldn't have gone into that cinema with what was at the back of the cinema. But you know that story as well as I do, and all the times that when we were leaving you and you threw the case into the back of the car and then said, "And that's for you, Shonika." I remember all those things and all the lovely places that we went and that Aggie took us. And when I used to sit in your kitchen, your lovely kitchen, and Aggie would talk to me for about half an hour, and it was just so lovely, very memorable, I suppose as we get old, we do remember these things of the past, But these drums, for example, Mark was the reason I bought these drums, because many years ago, we were very poor indeed. And I went to a big shop and they had drums of every price going, and these were the dearest of the lot. And Mark said to me, "If you don't buy those drums, you'll regret it for the rest of your life." And he was quite right, and I did buy them, and I'm so pleased I did. But now they'd be worth a fortune, an absolute fortune. But I just love my years of playing the drums with the bands, But of course, those days have gone. But we had such wonderful times with you. Excuse me, and your lovely country, Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is this book I've got here. I don't know if you could give a hold of it. You probably read it because you read most, but it's by an author called Chaim Potok, and it's called Vita's Heart, but he's written a lot of books. The Chosen and the Book of Lights. I don't know if you read his books, but if you could get hold of them, you'd love them, because they're almost a Bible to me, George. They are wonderful. Anyway, getting back to my drums, there is a drummer, and he's made a lot of films on television called Stuart Copeland, and I was a great fan, and Mark taught me to see him. He was the drummer with the Police, the group, and he's made films now on television. And he was asked the question, how do you hit the drums? And he said, and I thought this answer was lovely, "I don't hit drums, I play them." And that's absolutely as it should be, But, and then I went with Mark to see Buddy Rich, who was the greatest drummer of all times. And when we went in, the place was filled, hundreds of people, the lovely theatre in Chichester, and it was filled with drummers, and everybody I spoke to were drummers, So my whole interest in life has been drumming and playing the drums. I played with two separate dance bands when I was young, and they were lovely, and it was a pleasure to play with them. Although I do find that it's very important to get on with the people that you're working with, which you probably found in your profession too, But George, we did have some marvellous times, and I never forgot your wonderful lady, never. She was biggest influence in my life, I think, but I won't get on that too much because I don't want to make you sad. I'm sad when I think about it, and I wrote something down. And I've spoken about the things I wrote down anyway, but if you could get hold of those books. But I remember when you showed us around all those people, actors and actresses and comedians that you knew, and one by one they disappeared in the bad days, and I remember the things that you told us, and you had a wonderful job that you did, and you must think about it a great deal in your life. We have to have, like these drums of my past, I just adore them, and I've got the Buddy Rich book, and I've got it's here, the Buddy Rich book, and I play the music from it and practice it all the time, and I could practice for the rest of my life and not complete it, but I suppose we've all got to have something like that. I think it's very important, and also what's very important is our friends, and I'm sure in the theatre you've got many friends of the past, and some people in your country, I won't mention names, but that you don't like, obviously, the same as we have in this country, with our politicians, but I won't go into politics, that's not in it, but I do feel strongly about things and the way people are treated and everything and what happens, but I suppose basically, because I went to our synagogue quite recently, and it's always all right there, but a young man came up to me, he was disabled, and he came up and he was talking to me, and I took to him straight away because he was also a drummer, and we had so much in common. And I expect you're similar to that, meeting your old colleagues, talking about what you did in the past, and how you did it, and the memories of things. The memories are just amazing, your memories, good, bad, and indifferent. Lots of my memories when I was very young was of the best mother and father anyone could have, and my grandmother as well, could ever have, you could ever ask for. They were all lovely. And my grandmother, she brought up all her children. She had about 5 children all in all, 3 boys, 2 girls. And one was my mother, obviously. I'm sorry you haven't met her, but there it was. But she was lovely. But she had such hardships with the fascists in London, but I won't go deep into that because that's so sad, that was a pity. But she had a shop, and the fascists, and my grandmother did, a little shop, made bibs all night and sold bibs during the day to keep her family alive, and the fascists smashed her place down, a terrible man called Mosley, but I expect you would know all about him. Probably even played the part in a play or something, I don't know. But anyway, I just wish you were here to answer my questions and tell me what you thought, but of course that's not possible, and it's only through Mark that I can do this. I mean, I've got a fortune laying here, but these look like ordinary symbols. These are what they call Elgins, and the drummer who taught me was a marvellous drummer. He played for the band, and in the military for years, and he was a lovely drummer. And he went up to London and got those. They're matched cymbals, and this is a pasty, and it's just a beautiful symbol. But I'm sure that's enough for talking about my drums. But that they are my salvation, to be honest with you. And I don't know. I wish you were here to answer my questions, and then I could, say it. But you think back about your family in general, and I think about your 2 lovely daughters, which were both lovely girls, are lovely girls, and I can't think of any more to say to you, George, but I just wish you were here to talk to me. But there it is, and I remember you're a wonderful man, and we all love you here, and I think that's all I can say, George, anyway.